Yeah, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. So, hi, my name is Miriam. I'm a Dynamics 365 program manager, and this is
Daniel.
Yeah, also on the Dynamics 365 product team. So yeah, today we're here to talk about building the future of sales. And this is a continuation of a session that we did yesterday, or a little bit of a continuation. So yesterday we had a session around sales and Sales Insights Roadmap. So today we're going to spend not as much time on all the features that we have in Sales and Sales Insights. We'll drill deeper into some specific ones, and there we'll be focusing on specifically how you as a sales operations or admin person can start using those features and enable them for your organization. So just before we start, we would like to kind of get a little bit of a sense of the room. So who of you is familiar with Dynamics 365 for Sales as it is today? Just raise your hands. Awesome. Who's familiar with Sales Insights? Oh, awesome. Who wants to learn more about Sales Insights? Cool. All right, so
Also, out of curiosity, who was here yesterday for our session?
Oh, well, thank you for coming back. So just as a heads up for Sales Insights, so Sales Insights is like some additional capabilities on top of sales. We'll try to call it out. There will be on the slides always if it's sales or Sales Insights, but feel free to ask as well. And let's get started. So as I said before, today we are going to talk a little bit about some of the capabilities out of sales that we talked about yesterday, kind of repeat some things at the beginning, but then we'll go into more demos. And then the other thing is that we just want to make sure that you know what we want to do and what we're trying to do here, and then get to know some of the new administration capabilities that we provide. All right, so let's get started. Many of you, if you've been around, you've seen this digital feedback loop potentially, but just to kind of recap a little bit of what that means. So we know that a lot of industries are in transition. We know that everything is changing. And at Microsoft, we believe that to power that change, to help organizations transform their businesses, the core of it is that digital feedback loop. And what is at the center there is data. So how can we bring in a lot of data, build intelligent systems around that, and help organizations now, using that data, transform their businesses? And at business applications, so that's the overall group that we are part of, we think about that in 4 blades. One being empowering people. How can you help your employees? How can you transform your products with IoT and other things? How can you optimize your operations? And most importantly, from our perspective, of course, is how do you change how you engage with your customers? And that's what we're going to spend some time on today, is how are we going to use data and intelligent systems to help you transform how your sellers or how you are engaging with your customers, specifically on the sales, from a sales perspective. So yeah, let's jump right into sales and Sales Insights. When we look at sales, we think that there's like 4 key areas that we are trying to achieve or help our sellers with. The first one being, how can we help them be better at prospecting? How can they be better at reaching out to their customers, finding that new opportunity, that new lead? How can they better engage with them? How is communication be improved? How does collaboration or productivity internally work better? And how can we make sure that they reach their quota? So how do we measure performance? How do we improve performance in general? Now, once we understand how we can address from a tools perspective these 4 areas, we are able to unlock certain business values such as higher conversion rates, larger deal sizes, and so on. So the question is now, how do we do that? And at Microsoft, we believe that by unifying all your relationship data that's coming from Dynamics 365, being your contact information, your account data, your revenue information, your opportunities, and so on, combining that with data coming from LinkedIn and Office 365, we can build one unified relationship database where you can understand and better understand what needs to happen with your customers. Then we'll layer some AI on top of it, trying to use that data to maybe intelligently show you what can be done. Now, drilling a little bit deeper into, so we are from the product engineering team, so we are trying to figure out, okay, what should we invest our time in and improving the product. We like to listen to customers. We like to understand, okay, what is it that we can do to make it easier. So we have several key investment areas, and one of the key drivers for these investment areas is usage. So how can we make sure that we built a lot of great features, but if nobody uses it and they'd like to rather use their Excel sheet again, well, we failed with our product. So how can we drive usage? How can we improve that? And once every time we release new features or we have a new release, we try to focus on how can we improve our usability, the reliability, performance. So this is always on top of our mind. Then how can we improve data entry? Because we know that it is not the easiest to just keep your data clean, but if you don't have clean data, you can't do a lot with it because you're just always questioning if the results are right or not. And then lastly, how do we provide value and insights on the system so that you can, as a seller, actually want to use it and find, you don't just see it as a tool that your management uses to understand where you're lacking in your quota. So how can we actually give sellers some insights and some value that they can use? And then the second key driver is around processes. How can we improve processes? One of them is being how can we improve the prospecting, the engagement, productivity, and performance. So we have different tools such as guided selling, relationship selling, as well as collaborations in teams and all of that we try to see how can we use these integrations to improve the processes that we talked about before. And what at the corner of all of that is our ecosystem, because at Microsoft we'll not be able to create every single industry-specific vertical feature that you might need. And so we are working with a lot of partners and trying to help enable them so that they can provide more targeted solutions for specific areas that we don't have the bandwidth or knowledge in some cases to actually add to. And so you can get more specialized, more personalized experiences through that. So the other thing that we look at when building these products or when looking at our features, and we'll call them out as well throughout this session, is personas, or who is using our system. And we have identified, or we're trying to think about 4 different types of personas that we work with. The first one is sellers. How can we help sellers be better? How can we provide inside sellers? We think that there's a shift in organizations where you start having more field-based or maybe relationship-based sellers who are having very few contacts, but a lot of contacts with them. And then you have inside sellers, which are more driven towards contacting maybe more customers, not having as deep of a relationship with them. Then the other persona that we'll focus on a little bit more today is actually the sales ops or IT admin persona that starts and looks at how can we configure the system, how can we enable our sellers and inside sellers. And then we also look at the sales manager, because sales managers in the end want to use the data that comes in and to help either coach their team or tell their management about like how are we tracking towards our revenue this year. So now let's dive a little bit deeper into what are all our new capabilities. So if you've been there yesterday, you saw the slide. It's basically we have tried to map all the capabilities that we either released in the last couple months or are releasing in the next few months on one slide. It's a lot. We will not touch everything. I would encourage, if you want to see everything on that, I encourage you to check out the video from yesterday. But basically it is, we have made a lot of investments across starting from the leads perspective up until how do we close an opportunity. We have things like a business card scan where you can, after the conference, go in and maybe take a picture of your business card that will be added automatically into your system. And so there's a bunch of things that's really interesting. So today we picked a few to just kind of give you an idea of what we've done and kind of have a little bit more time for some demos that are to show you some of these things. So let's first start with the first one. So as part of the when you're starting to qualify a lead, or after you qualified a lead, one of the systems that we have right now is that after you qualify, we automatically create a contact account and a opportunity. We got feedback that this doesn't work for everybody. So what we've done is basically we added a system setting, very simple as that, that now allows you to turn off that automatic creation, or turn it on if you want to. And once you turn it off or turn it on, and you start, and the seller starts to qualify a lead, they get a pop-up where they can define if they want to, after qualification, if they want to actually create a new contact or create a new an opportunity. They can basically just switch. Well, maybe it's a lead with an existing customer, so maybe the contact already exists. There's some duplicate detection afterwards, and so you have a lot of less actually duplicates and more control over what happens. That's the first one. All right, the next one I just wanted to touch on is auto capture. So how are we improving adding data into it? So we wanted to call this out because this is going into preview in the next month. So if you are on Dynamics 365 online, in the next 2-3 months, you'll start seeing this new feature show up. And you can start opting into the preview. And what it tries to do is, we know it is hard for sellers to keep everything up to date. So we have this feature called auto data capture, which is in a timeline, you can see all the emails that you had with a certain contact or customer. Well, that means you would always have to go into that timeline and try and find, okay, I need to maybe track this or that. So with the new auto capture, we actually are going to provide you with a list of all the things that we detected in your inbox as a seller that you can now add to CRM or not. And that will include contacts as well. So you can start looking at, okay, here's all the contacts that we detected you have in your Office 365, and we think these ones you should be adding to Dynamics. And you can use the list, select the contacts that you want, save them as customers in your database, so kind of trying to decrease the friction of adding that information in. It's already pre-populated with all the data that's coming from Office 365, so you can have a lot of easier data in there.
Miriam, if
Yes.
I may add one more thing, if you can go back to the slide previously.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people also have been asking us what is Sales Insights. So for a lot of these capabilities, if you see at the top in blue, hopefully it's visible enough. Some of the capabilities that are marked as Sales Insights are the fact that they're based off of AI and ML models and increase the value of the sales solution to your sellers. And in short, really, Sales Insights is nothing more than empowering your sellers to do a lot more with the data that's already in the system. And so if you're curious as to what are those Sales Insight features, in essence, really, they work alongside the same capabilities that the sales cycle goes through, but some of them are just enhanced with data intelligence. And for every single slide, you'll see whether or not it's in Sales Insights or in what we're calling our core sales.
Thank you. Yeah, and the other thing I want to call out, we allow for some of these features also additional privacy settings that you can understand whose data are you actually starting to crawl in a way. All right, so going on to the next one. Also on this slide, you can see the same information that Daniel was just mentioning. If everything that has little stars actually also has either a component or is part of Sales Insights as well. All right. This is one of the things that we showed yesterday as well, in a little bit more detail, is how can you start, we can have more product management capabilities. So we heard feedback that there's a lot of challenges with adding products to an opportunity. So there's a bunch of things that we changed on the seller side of how you can add information easier. We have also started to add some additional settings on this operation side. So one of the big ones that we added is that you can start opting in if you want to have a quote. If you start typing in a new product, you can basically turn on and off if you want to have if you want to add a price to it, or have sellers add prices to it, or just add that product directly and just get on with their lives, and then later on you add the price to it. All right, so one other thing that always comes up when we talk about sales insights is we have one feature that's called lead and opportunity scoring. And I don't know if anybody is familiar with that. It's been out for a year or so. One of the features or one of the adoption blockers that we saw is that people would like to start customizing it. So basically what we've done with lead scoring is that you can currently, basically what we do is we look at all the data in your leads and understand which are the properties that, or try to understand which are the properties leading to successful conversion of leads and opportunities. So the thing is with a lot of guys, a lot of you are actually changing or creating custom fields, which are actually even more important than some of our out-of-the-box fields. So in the next few months, we'll have a preview that allows you to change which fields we use as part of that ML scoring model. So you can start customizing some of that functionality as well. All right. Now, another one that we have is after you finished so once you're closed and after you finished your opportunity, we have something called the opportunity close dialogue. So once you are in the close dialogue, we ask you some questions like like did you win it, did you lose it, what happened, and what is actually the revenue that you got from it. That was very fixed. So it was not customizable. So in the previously, you would close as one, and you just had these 5 fields that you could just select, and that's it. So now you can go into system settings. At first, enable our customization for that dialog. And once you have it enabled, you can start customizing that. So we have it enabled. And then you can go into the forms customization area and start customizing the field, add the fields that you want. One of the scenarios that we looked at that we thought would be interesting is, for example, you could add a Boolean field that you use to say, hey, I want to send a survey afterwards. Then you could use Power Automate to actually look at that field and trigger up sending a survey to your customers as well. So there's a bunch of options that you now have that you can have after following up and closing an opportunity if you want to have a more rounded experience for your sellers. All right, so next we are talking a little bit more about, let's go actually back to this. So now we kind of covered some of the things that are happening across from lead to close and how you can change some of these things in there. So one of the things that is actually available across the whole sales cycle is the assistant. And so the assistant is a way for us to let sellers know what's their next best action. So we'll spend a little bit more time on that and how you can configure some areas in there, and I'll have some more demos on that. So first, let's talk about the assistant. So the assistant is a way for sellers to actually start and know what is the next best action that you can do. There's multiple experiences that we have for the assistant, and I'll show you one. One of the experiences is actually using Dynamics 365 inside of Teams. So the intent with the assistant is that as a seller, I don't want to, well, there's lots of information in Dynamics. I don't know what's maybe the next thing. So we're trying to explore what are some of the new capabilities that we can introduce so that sellers can interact with the assistant a little bit, or with CRM more intuitively, more targeted towards what they want to do. And so the assistant in mobile, that's one of our explorations that's in preview right now, is we are looking at, okay, what are the things as a seller that I'm interested in? So for that, we basically said, well, what's interesting to me? Well, it's the meetings. So we show you all the meetings that you have in the today. Once you are on the meetings, well, you could say, well, that's very similar to Outlook. But what we are trying to do is say, okay, well, what is this meeting related to? Show you directly the information coming from Dynamics. So when you're drill into it, you see all the participants. You can see the regarding objects, meaning the information coming from CRM. You can see the timeline. You can see a lot of information. The other thing that you see in here is, once you scroll a little bit down, is next best actions or highlighted insights. And what that is a curated set of things that you as a seller should be focusing on. So you could say, well, there's maybe an opportunity that is at risk, and the close date is coming up, so maybe you should start following up on that. Or you've been into a new opportunity has started, and maybe there is some guidelines that your organization would like you to read, so we can start showing you, hey, what is the content that you should now look at? Maybe it's a workshop template that you should provide. Or you could say, well, there is something changed up, an opportunity, and we can start looking at, okay, what is maybe a product that you should recommend to your sellers. So we're trying to, with the assistant, to focus you on, or help the sellers focus on what's important to them right now. What is maybe one of the things that we notice is the meetings. Another thing is interesting insights coming from dynamics that maybe they don't find like that directly. So the question now becomes, so with the assistant itself, we've been, that's been out for a little bit. You have it available on Dynamics 365, and you have it available on Teams. But the thing is that, well, we had it out for a little bit, and I show you some scenarios, which, if you're familiar with it, are not available right now. So the question becomes, okay, that is because we had a lot of feedback saying, well, the insights that you provide out of the box are interesting, but they don't fit my needs. And so what we started to do is we started to allow you to start creating your own next best action using the Assistant Studio. And so the Assistant Studio is basically a tool for you to start building those things. And let me switch to the demo. All right, so first let me show you, just to kind of show you that the same user logged in on the phone, if logging into Dynamics, they will see the same type of insights. They will see the same type of information coming from on their phone or in here. So it doesn't matter where you go, you see the same next best action. So now if I'm a sales operations or IT person, and I was like, well, I would like to have maybe a similar insight about maybe my opportunities that are at risk and are closing soon, I can go in and build those. The way I do that is by switching from the sales area to the sales insight settings. In the sales insight settings, we have changed a little bit. So you have now a little bit more streamlined experience of seeing like an overview of all the insight settings. We have now that new area of the Assistant Studio. In the Assistant Studio, you can see maybe how you can start creating a new insight. You can start finding more information and see all the insight cards that you already have. To create a new insight, we actually are integrating with Power Automate or Flow. And so let me show you how that works. Once you are clicking on Create a New Insights, we are actually starting to embed Flow. And the nice thing about that is that once we start embedding into Flow or using Flow for it, there's lots of different options of what you can build. Basically, there's almost no limit to what you want to build. So as a starting point, we provide you with a few templates of, hey, here's some things that we think are interesting for you. So for example, if you wanted to build a new insight card based on a due date that is coming up, you can use this template. Or if we have a feature in Sales Insights called Opportunity Health Score that analyzes the relationship between an account team and the customer. And you could select that one to decide and build a new card on top of that as well. So the other option is that you can start also creating from blank, which means you can completely, if you're familiar with Power Automate, you can just start selecting any triggers that you want, and then start adding the information in there. Why is that not? All right, so once you edited or created a new card, they will start showing up in the Insights Cards section. The Insights Cards section actually now lists all the cards that you have. If you see this is the Power Automate icon that tells you, okay, these are the ones that I created. It mixes the ones that we created out of the box, and it mixes the ones that you created for yourself. If you want, you can drill into one of those cards, and you can see, okay, what is some of the more details on top of it, like what does the card look like once it is shown to the seller, maybe a description, and you can actually start going back into Flow and start editing it. I have it open here. And so once you start editing it, you actually are being moved into Power Automate, and you have the same capabilities that you have traditionally as you have from Power Automate. So you can use any trigger. In my example right now, I basically said, well, maybe you're tracking all of your agreements in some table in Excel that where you track what's the renewal date. And so I just said, okay, well, let's get that table on a daily basis, check which ones are, which ones are the ones that are closing today, and then I have a condition. If they're closing today, I go and pick up the information coming from CRM and about that, maybe about that customer, about that account, and then I start creating a new card on the assistant. And I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about what you can and cannot configure here. So first, if we look at the card, it's very simply set up. You have a title, you have a subtitle, some text, and an action. So basically, that is what you can configure. So once you are in Flow and you have your logic set up, and you can start seeing, okay, well, what's the cart name? What's the header? You can use different data coming from your previous steps in Flow. You can start writing the text that you want. You can and you can start changing what is the type of button that you want to have. So when you click on that action, what happens? And currently we support two types of actions. One is open an URL, and the other one is open an entity. So with that, we do know that basically that opens you up to actually open a lot of different things. You then define, okay, which URL do you want to open? And then there's some additional options that you can have, such as what is the, maybe if you selected the entity type, open entity, what is the entity that you want to open? What is the ID of the record? Where do you want to show it? Who do you want to show it? And when do you want to show it? So there's a bunch of things that you can start configuring and changing. With that, we have been seeing that there's lots of asks to add additional things to open. So starting in the next few months, we'll have a preview that allows you to create other button types. So maybe start automating things. So for example, if you get a recommendation and you want to trigger another workflow from it, you can do that, or you can automatically fill in fields, things like that. And you can start actually also changing the text of what it says. So maybe it says, the action currently says open, but you want to say maybe a send email, so that you can be a little bit more prescriptive of what you can do here. So now when going back into the studio experience, where you start the configuration and add some more information in there, we have another things that you can configure. One is you can change who is this shown to? Like, what is the security roles that have access to this type of insights? And how high in your priority list is it? So because you can have you have a long list, or you have a list of things, you want to make sure that the most important things show up first. So basically, here you can start changing that priority a little bit. But if you want to be a little bit more sophisticated in like what is the order of how people should execute stuff, we have the Optimize Ranking tab. In the Optimize Ranking tab, you basically we're allowing to create rules that kind of tell you, okay, if there's an opportunity that is associated with a certain, above a certain revenue, then you want to show it higher. If there's a card associated with an opportunity that has a certain revenue, and you want to show that higher than other things. Or if you have a key account that always, whenever something happens, you want to show first, that there's another rule that you can kind of configure for that. So this kind of summarizes some of the capabilities that we have. And what I wanted to mention is that we are working with different partners that help us make that experience like a little bit richer. So we make sure you already have a lot of connectors and flows. So if you want to start creating your own flows, there's a bunch of options for you to connect to a lot of different services. So maybe I can add that here. And you can just choose whatever. So I think a lot of people have been asking, so, hey, I have a SQL database where I have some data. Well, you can connect to that. There's a bunch of other connectors, I think 200 or so. So if you want, you can learn more about that. We have also worked with a partner that works on content recommendation called Seismic. They've been adding a connector, and we've been working with Module Q, who's also been adding a connector to allow you to look at their recommendations. They look at your data and find recommendations for you to work on, and you can listen to them, and then just create a card based on that, bringing basically the data coming from a lot of different systems into the experience your sellers are working on. So yeah, so this is the this is a short demo of the Assistant Studio, and I will have some time for questions as well. But before we do, we still wanted, because there was lots of requests, I want to switch over to Daniel to talk a little bit about forecasting.
Yes, thank you, Miriam. So one thing that we've heard from a lot of our customers as well is that currently in Dynamics, it's actually very hard to get, I would say, visibility and accountability from the sales team, specifically when it comes to the aggregation of what the sales team has been performing over a course of an individual period. And in short, this is somewhat possible. So I'm not sure is anybody familiar with the goals capability in Dynamics? If you are, raise your hand. Okay, so I'll give you a quick summary. So in Dynamics, we have something called goals that allows you to create these aggregates that counts informations or sums specific data against target. Theoretically, you could use that if you wanted to do a forecast. Having said that, it wasn't initially built for it. It's really lacking a lot of capabilities that make it easy for individual sellers and managers to get the awareness that they need and the accountability into their quotas. And it's very difficult also for directors to get the visibility into how their team is performing according to these quotas. And so we just lately released a new capability for bottoms-up sales forecasting that in short really solves a lot of these problems and provides you with a hierarchical view of your sales organization and how they're performing against those quotas. And it allows also sellers to really focus on the right deals that can make them hit their target within a specific period. So I'm going to give you today a small demo to show you exactly how that works. Thank you. All right, perfect. So the first part is I'm actually going to start, let me start with the end. So what are we trying to achieve? So the thing that we're trying to achieve is really a forecast that allows an organization to see their whole, or allows a director to see his whole organization and how they're performing. But also for every single person within that hierarchy, they should be able to see their numbers, see how they're performing. Industry best practice states that for every deal, there's actually a confidence level. So what's called a forecast category. So forecast category could be anything from committed, which is I'm really confident, pipeline, not so confident, best case if I'm lucky, or in either case it might be omitted. You know what? This is probably in the pipeline. I'm probably gonna lose it. So these are released out of the box, but they're actually configurable. So although we've implemented these standard best practice, you don't necessarily need to use that if this is how your organization works. Having said that, let me show you what happens. So once we've implemented the confidence level per opportunity, then if I am Kevin, what I want to see is how's my team performing and how are they bucketizing all of these opportunities against a specific quota. So right now I'm looking at my forecast, and I can see that my team seems to have won $26 million, which represents about 76% of the $35 million quota. And I can also see that there's some money in the best case, some money in committed, and some money in the pipeline, giving me more visibility into how they're performing. But what I can also do is actually go down to the individual details and see within my organization at which level do we have the biggest discrepancy. And here, as an example, let me just go all the way to a leaf level, all the way to Claudio. And in Claudio, I can see that maybe he's performing at 65%. And if I wanted to get visibility into the opportunities, allowing me to dive deeper into the individual opportunities to see exactly where a problem occurs. It seems here that the Wi-Fi might be a little bit slow. Oh, well, it showed up now. So now I get the visibility now into the underlying opportunities that contributed to that value that I just created. So now let me show you how we create these forecasts. So every organization is different, right? So some organizations prefer to do reporting-based forecasts, so where it's really it goes from sellers to managers to directors, et cetera. Some organizations prefer territory-based forecasts, where every single person is an owner of a region, and then those regions are in a hierarchy. So today in our public preview, what I am going to show is a user-based forecasting, so a reporting-based forecast. So when you will go now to app settings, and this is currently available in public preview, so you're free to install it in your own environment. So when you go to, when you follow the public preview, you install it. Now in app settings, what you'll get is a new section called forecast configuration. Once you click on it, you get to this screen that allows you to start from one of our pre-made templates. In this case, the org chart template. So let me go through one that I've already started so that we don't go through all of the inherent details. But in this case, I'm creating, we have a guided process that, because a forecast can be complicated because every organization has specific needs. So in this case, it's really important to go step by steps into identifying exactly what is needed. So here, we're doing a forecast where the underlying data is actually coming from the opportunity object. So as long as the opportunity object has the data and the values and the dates, then we can roll this up across all of the hierarchy. And here, we're also using what I mentioned before, the reporting hierarchy. So it's important to choose who is at the top of that hierarchy. In this case, it's our sales director called Kevin Sontner. However, if wanted, you could have easily created 2 different forecasts that use different leaders, if that were the case. Another thing that I wanted to do is the scheduling. So here we're scheduling at a quarterly basis, but you could have changed it at a monthly, and we're spanning a full year. So from January 1st all the way to December 31st. Once I've said this, now it's up to me to control the layout. So in the layout, we have our quota. But what's important is actually choosing what we're calling the option set. So if we remember when we were going back to the opportunity, every opportunity is in a category, which is a forecast category. So I'm going to choose that to bucketize basically every opportunity together into one column. But you could have easily have used any other one. So if I go back here, you could use any opportunity option set that makes most sense to your organization. In this case, because our forecast category has been specifically designed with industry best practice, this is the one that I'm going to select. Another thing that you'll notice is if you select the option set that is the forecast category, you're going to get this auto configuration, and I'm going to explain exactly what that is because it does save some time. So let me just auto configure and go into the details. So once I do an auto configuration, first, actually, I want this column to be all the way here. So now I have quota next to 1, and let me configure the 1 column. So what I want is all my 1 columns to be the sum of all opportunities that have been won. But what am I summing? I'm actually summing the actual close date and the estimated and the actual close date and the actual revenue. So here, these are the fields that I've selected. Another thing about my 1 column is I want to make sure that I'm comparing it against the progress. So if you see here on the preview side, if I toggle this button, it actually changes the preview. As an example of something that was different, if I had moved my committed, let's move my committed right here because it's the one that I'm most confident with. I configure it. Actually, I can change this to confident, very confident here. So I can change my column names if I wanted to. Here, differently than the other column, I'm actually using the estimated revenue and the estimated close date. So every single column can use a different option, can use a different field as it's relevant to your business. Another thing on this column that you'll notice that is different is the concept of adjustments. So now I have allowed this adjustment, as you see in the preview. Now I can adjust this specific field. Why do we allow adjustments? Because what we've heard from some of our customers who are early private preview customers is they want their management team to be able to override the forecast that their sellers are inputting into the system. The reason is that they may have more information and more experience as to how their sales team is going to perform. And so this ability to adjust that value is very important. So now that I've finished with my forecast, I can just commit it. So let me just go to one that's already been done. So I published this forecast. Now it's available. Also, I want to upload some quotas. So the way to upload quotas is using Excel. So once you've published, you have the ability to download a quota template. So once it's downloaded, let me just save it here. All you have to do is fill this Excel-based Excel quota with all of the quotas for your individual team, for your organization, upload them back in the tool, and then they'll be available. Once that's done, now I go back to my forecast, and my forecast, voila, is basically leveraging, I guess, the specific requirements of your individual business. One thing to note here, this is the view of Kevin. So if I were Claudio, the only thing that Claudio would see would be his own line. They would not have access to anybody above. So as a user of this forecast, you always have access to only the information that belongs to you and anything below you. So as a manager, you would only see your team. As a director, you'll see your managers and their teams. And finally, let me show you how to make adjustments. So the best case, we decided that we could adjust it. So let me adjust it from 6,000 to 7 million. And let's do that, enter it. Then automatically this gets recalculated and everything across the hierarchy gets updated accordingly. All right, and that was the demo of forecasting. So right now we are in public preview. So I do advise you, if this is something that is interesting for you and for your organization, to go try the public preview and provide us also the feedback, because we are planning to go GA fairly soon in early 2020. All right, so we went through the forecast configuration. So again, going back to all the capabilities that we've released, so there's a lot in this latest release. So again, you got visibility also into how we're thinking about things in two areas. Obviously, we got to think of the end users first and how they're actually going to experience these capabilities once you've enabled it for them. But also, we want to think about processes to make your organization much more efficient. So for you to really standardize the best practices that are unique to your organization and making sure that your sellers are following up so that you can be a lot more successful. I think we spoke a little bit about our ecosystem, but evidently, especially as we're built on Power Apps and Microsoft Power Automate, then we're able to extend the capabilities that come out of the box with some of our great partners who are developing point solutions to really enhance what is possible with Dynamics. All right, and with that said, if we have, how much time do we have left? We have about 1 minute and 30 seconds. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask us these questions and we'll make sure to answer them. Oh. Yes. So there are going to be parts of it that are going to be part of the sales core, and parts may be included in Sales Insights. But everything I showed you is actually going to be in Sales Core. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, I forgot to repeat the questions for people who are maybe seeing on video. The question was whether or not what I've shown for forecasting would be part of Sales Core or Sales Insights. So we will have more to inform publicly in the next few months. Having said that, what we have shown, there is going to be a differentiator between Sales Core capabilities for forecasting, and there are some capabilities that will be part of Sales Insight. Question? Yes?
The custom cards you're making inside of that Assistant Studio, do those translate to both the Sales Assistant as well as the Relationship Assistant?
Yes. So yeah, both. They don't allow you to change it. So it's just the same card goes to both places. So, yeah.
Are they available only for the web client?
Excuse me?
Are those cards available only for the web client?
The question is, are the cards only available for the web client? No. So they are actually only available for the unified client infrastructure. So for those that don't know, Dynamics has currently two experiences, the web client and the unified infrastructure. We encourage everybody to move to the unified client in the next year. So, but yeah, the assistant cards will only are mainly available on the new UCI.
Perfect. So I think we're out of time now. If for any other questions, we can maybe sync up after, well, right now. Thank you.